Hi, I'm Laura. I'm co-founder of Ghost Feel It, and we are all about the sense of touch and how it can be used in human-machine interaction. We live in a world with loads of machines and more of those coming. And it's not only important that we humans can talk to machines, but also that we can talk and understand how machines want to communicate with us. And this is all about the human-machine interaction. Usually the human-machine interaction, you usually get a lot of information at the same time. For example, when you're driving, you are maybe in a hurry and you're kind of in a rush. Maybe your phone's ringing, maybe you listen to music, there's other cars around, maybe you have your baby in the back, there's an ambulance coming. It's usually a lot of information coming in. And your brain will have to figure out which information that we're seeing and hearing are the most important ones and the ones to focus on, because at one point it's just too much information and there will no new input will be processed. So it's only the focus that the brain basically chooses. But what if we had a different way of communicating other than seeing and hearing? And that's exactly what we're proposing, using the sense of touch as a new communication channel to understand information. And this is for a very simple example. If somebody taps you on the shoulder, you will look into that direction. And that's something that you don't have to train for. It's something that you kind of naturally learn as a human or as a child. And it is basically a very simple form on how to feel information, the information here being turn around. And in that matter, it would be great to use some of the information that was usually transmitted visually or acoustically and kind of spread it out over all three senses so that you can see, feel, and hear information, and none of those channels are overflowing. This is one example that we prepared with Mercedes-Benz for the startup Autobahn last year. And this is basically a car seat that is connected to the navigation system. So in this seat, we have prepared 24 vibration motors, and just like what is built into your phone, so it can just start to vibrate. And it is connected to the navigation system. So whenever the signal, for example, says turn left in 200 meters, the seat will make a pattern in a way that will tell you to turn left. And that signal then is, for example, different than turn left now, or turn right in 200 meters, or do a U-turn. So those information can then be processed by your back. You can feel them, what it means. So it's the left side or is it the right side, and then kind of figure out what you have to do after. That way, you don't necessarily have to have the sound on or have to look at the navigation system the entire time. We actually showcased this example at just before the pandemic at the startup Autobahn in Stuttgart. And it actually had about 1,000 people sitting in the chair and testing it out. And actually, even though this was a static demo, so just with a video, really easily understand and follow it. And people asking, when can it be in the car? When will we actually be able to feel it in the car? This is just one example, and I have two other examples that we, for example, also followed on. We were involved in a research project that was done here at the Technical University in Berlin, and basically they put people that have never been rowing before onto a rowing machine. They gave them VR glasses and a belt that had vibration motors in it, so a haptic belt. And then they wanted to teach them how to row. So basically when to breathe in and when to breathe out when you are using your coordination and learning how to row, because that's very important when you're rowing. And the study actually showed that you are faster to pick up the coordination, faster to learn how to coordinate breathing and movement when you get haptic cues, vibration cues, for example, rather than getting visual cues. And this is great if you think about what this could mean if you could improve or increase the learning speed at which you're learning anything, not only movements. The other example that I wanted to show you today is we have also created a development kit that is a vest that you can just wear. And that vest can, for example, mimic a hug. Especially very important in those times where you cannot just go to your family and hug them. And yeah, definitely a lot of potential there to bring life in distance into more of a setting. And the other benefits that tactile feedback can bring is, for example, like we already heard about sensory overload. You can process the information subconsciously, so you don't actively have to think about it to process it. It can be meaningful and personal because you can also feel it with all your senses. You can increase the learning speed, and it can be very discreet because if your seat is vibrating, nobody else next to you will see or hear it. So because it has so many benefits, why is it not used so much? And that basically is being able to brought down to two reasons. The one is you need to have a good team that is very sophisticated in a lot of different fields, very interdisciplinary. And the other thing is that the process of development is actually taking quite long, because if you think about the navigation use case, there's a lot of steps involved to bring it into the car. And it's very hard to make example and that people will understand in a quick way. And basically what we at Go Field have been doing, we have software where you can create vibration feedback and already do first prototypes with it. We have a hardware so that you can directly plug it into your computer and directly start testing and feeling what it feels like. And we have a library of patterns, of vibration patterns that you can just choose for if it, for example, fits your situation. So here I brought you an example of what the Tacton creator looks like, which is basically how you can create vibration patterns. The green dots on the left show where motor activation should start and in which way it should kind of go. And then you can see that the motors will be calculated accordingly to where it is. And it's very easy to change timing, change intensity, and how to activate multiple motors at the same time, just with the different bars on the sides. Once you find one that you're satisfied with, you can put it into the creator, where you can browse through all the patterns that were in the library or the ones that you created yourself. You can demonstrate them on the top right and just see what they would feel like and plug in a connected development kit to feel what they feel like. And you can put it into context with a video that you can see in the bottom left. There's a video file, and you can pull any of those tectons to the specific timing where you want. For example, here, when it's supposed to be turning left, and it will play the tecton with the video. So this is basically a way for you to create your first video prototype that you can test with other people than yourself to see if the idea of your product actually works and if you like it. We've won different contests, for example, the Porsche Next Open Innovation Challenge. We have been in different articles and podcasts and videos with our idea and trying to promote it even more than that. If we now look at the Tactile Evolution, we can see that it already went quite far. So we started basically with a phone that was just an alarm signal. It was just telling you, so look at that, there's something happening, you know, watch out. But it couldn't tell you anything else. It couldn't tell you what is it, who is calling, like what is happening. You only know there's something up. Then what we have with modern smartphones is a smarter way of feedbacking tactile information. So for example, it can feel like a click, even though you're actually not clicking a button. So mimicking that, something like that is already more advanced haptics that, for example, also Apple has been primarily defining. And where we are right now is experience creation. So what kind of experiences, like to create experiences in virtual reality or in reality itself for a lot of different situations, evoking emotions, mimicking situations, and so on. And what you can see here is that this trend has also been shown in numbers from the ID Tech X report that recently came out. You can see that the price that you spend on a device, on haptics in a device, so the money you spend for the haptics in that device, has actually been decreasing until 2020 14, which means that they wanted to mass produce it, bring it into, you wanted to have it as cheap as possible to put into anything. And then it actually, in the last 6 years, has started rising and actually increased 77% for the entire time. Because it's not just that you want to have something simple just vibrating, you want to actually create an experience. So you need to have more advanced haptics possibilities, and you have to think about what can this actually mean. And probably the biggest example that especially from, that also came from Japan, is the Sony PlayStation 5. That, like the haptic feature of the Sony PlayStation, is basically stealing the show for anything else. So people are talking about the graphics, but they are definitely talking about the haptics. This is like news articles that say the DualSense controller is literally a game changer, or that the haptic feedback is magical, because now you can feel when you're driving with a car through mud, or when you're driving on a normal road or gravel road. And that experience, just by feeling it, will give you a deeper sense of connection, because then you can also feel the information. You can not only see and hear it, and you can fool your body even more to believe that you are in this, in that case, game, and see what you're doing. And this is a massive jump, because now, up to then, haptics was more of something that you maybe wanted, but people actually did not know how to phrase it, or did not know what was actually good about the product if it was done nicely. But here you can really see that the people are demanding it, and that it is actually, it can be quite a game changer if you add it well into your product. And you can see that the trend is actually, the evolution is definitely not at an end here. There are so many things that are still to be coming, especially a new possibility of potentially creating a brain-computer interface. So how machines can directly talk to your brain, and your brain can directly talk to machines, but ideally without having a chip directly put it into your brain, but just using your skin as a channel to get to your brain as fast as possible without distracting anything of your normal life up to now. So it doesn't matter what you use it for. The power of haptics has quite a big potential, from supporting a sense, so making you see better, feel better, hear better, learn better, substituting a sense, for example, when you want to feel a prosthetic arm that you, when you've lost your arm, to creating even new senses, for example, feeling different radiation exposures. And it doesn't matter if you create a vest that will make people connect better to each other, because they can feel hugged, they can feel loved. If you maybe do the same for babies by putting it into an infant seat, and make them feel calm and happy about themselves and feeling hugged and loved. Or if you put it into gaming, automotive, medical devices, robotic surgery, or anything else, the possibilities are endless. And I encourage you to definitely join the haptic revolution by adding haptics to your products. Just be creative. We're always open to help you brainstorm, think about things. Just think about what great products could be out there, or what we can actually do together to create a world that you don't only see and hear, but actually experience in a better, in a more fruitful, more full way, by using haptics and using the sense of touch on how to feel things. Lastly, if you want to have any questions, or if you want to reach out, talk to us, talk about the possibilities that you have, what we have together, definitely give us a call, write us an email. We are located in Berlin, so just give us a shout out. Thanks for listening.